So I think how we started and where we are today are two different things. I think when we started, we were of course, agents always need a question answered at 10 o'clock on Friday night, right? So our initial thing was how do we actually provide better value to the agents where they can have access to a broker 24/7. So that's where we started. And because we were pretty robust in working with you and getting our documents in there, and not only that, but also how we wanted questions answered. So the second piece to that is, from my perspective, is when you have a lot of managing brokers, I don't know about you guys, but they don't necessarily answer the question exactly the same way. However, with BrokerBot, we were able to, have a significant more questions answered the way I would want them answered. So I think it did twofold. One, it gave them access 24/7. Number two, it gave them answers to questions the way that I would prefer they be answered, especially when it comes to contract law and et cetera. So I think that's where we started. Where we are today is very, very different. And how it helped us do more, just real quickly, is lack of fewer and fewer and fewer, not only calls, but interruptions.
Oh, interesting. That's really interesting. And I see all three of you, all three of the other panelists are like, yeah, less interruptions, which that's a big deal. And Kristan, I remember when we first started, y'all have to realize Kristan was like one of the first people I called. And I said, hey, we have this crazy idea that we can train an AI assistant on brokerage policies and procedures and build this helpful assistant inside of a market center. If we could do this, would you be interested? And it was like an interesting timing thing with her because she had a broker retiring and they were going to have some change anyways, and it made sense. And I remember it took us about 3 months to get to a first prototype that kind of worked. And 2 weeks after that, Kristan calls or texts me or calls me, I don't remember. And you said something like, hey, can you tell me if BrokerBot's working? And my heart just sank because I was like, oh my gosh, what did we do? And you said something like, our broker hotline call volume is down by like 83%. And it had been a few weeks since we launched. And I was like, wait, maybe it is working. And then we went and we started digging through chats and we had that experience where an agent asked BrokerBot a question and they didn't like the answer that it gave them. So then they went and they asked the managing broker. And I don't know about the rest of you, but like my agents never don't like dad's answer and go ask mom. And then the managing broker got a little creative, or the other broker got a little creative. And then there was a thing that kind of spun out of that. And so I think that it's funny because that's the thing people don't appreciate is that consistency of answers as you're running a scaled business and consistency of operations is a thing that people really undervalue. And I think it's a thing you really helped us discover.
Mm.